What is nicer than making your own decorations of the Christmas dinner table? Add a name tag, some sweets, and you have place cards. Today's box is not really big, it's 1.5 by 1.5 by 2.25, but then who would want 6 by 6 boxes on the table? I wouldn't. Hey, welcome back to Kans Papercraft. Thank you very much for watching. Wat leuk dat je weer kijkt. Dankjewel. Are you ready for this box? Now let's begin. When designing this box, this is what I started out with, and I wasn't too sure about it, and then at one moment I had it up like that and I thought, well, I like a taller box better, so this is my second prototype, just made from some discontinued cardstock, and then I chose cardstock for my final boxes, and here you have Lost Lagoon, basic white, and the very pretty Snowflake Magic Specialty Designer Series paper. I'm going to show you, does my camera focus? I think it does. How you can make this little die with these veins in the leaf and individual berries. And I'm going to show you what supplies you're going to need. I had a stack here, very carefully. You're going to need a sponge dauber, a scrap of Poppy Parade, a scrap of shaded spruce, a scrap of basic white, Lost Lagoon ink. I've used the Sending Cheers dies for the berries and the holly, and from the Deckled Circle dies I used the second smallest, that's the one, for the name card on the top. Some thick basic white for the top. I'll explain later why thick basic white is really necessary. As I explained, the very pretty Snowflake Magic paper and some Lost Lagoon cardstock as well. I think I have all the details. Yes, okay. I'm going to show you first of all the holly and the berries, and while I'm die cutting I'll die cut the circle as well. I'm going to get my trimmer in. My cut and emboss machine trimmer. Oh, something entirely different, but never mind. Put the plate on top and run it through. That shifted, didn't it? Okay. And that shifted too. Drat. I should have stuck them together. I normally do that, didn't this time, so I'll do the berries again. And that one shifted too. Oh, nice. I'll speed up for that, never mind. But you see, these things happen to me just as the same as they happen to you. Don't ask me why I didn't stick them down, because anyone who watches my channel knows that I do this all the time. Must have had a senior moment. I'm starting to have them. You know, you end up somewhere and you think, what am I doing here? And then I have to go back to the place where I was, the kitchen for example, to remember what on earth I was doing in the hallway, for example. So this is ready for later on. I'm putting it aside. Oh well, I'll finish it while I'm at it. I was going to show you how you can, this is a very plain die, this one too. You could stamp on it, but see, there's no veining on it. I'm going to do that with my embossing tool, which is gone. Where did I put it? Oh my word, hang on. I've got more of those. With the pointy end, I'm going to draw on the cardstock and pretend it's a real holly leaf, and then go from the center into the corners and here down the center. Okay, and with the berries you just pretend there are 3 berries. And then with the Stampin' Right marker, the brush end, I'm going to put those little dots on the berries. And while I'm at it, I'll write a name in a minute. Because first I'm going to use a sponge dauber and the ink. And I'm going to put some ink on a block. Not only does this work with your blending brush, but it works great with sponge daubers as well, so that you don't get too much ink on the sponge dauber. And then I go around and make the edges of this little die cut a bit more pronounced. And the Lost Lagoon ink, of course, pairs with the colour of the rest of the box. There we are. I've just cleaned off my block and I'm going to write my own name on the name card. I already made one for my husband, so these I can put over here for later, and then I'll show you how you can make the bottom of the box. And for that you need the Lost Lagoon cardstock. You need a piece which is 6.5 by 5.25. So I'll first cut it to 6.5, and then a 5.25 piece. And I'm going to use my Simply Score to do the scoring, because for a box I find that easier. You don't have to open that arm every time. And something I discovered this week, not only today I couldn't find my scoring tool, but it happened to me last week as well. And then I just took my bone folder and I found it much easier with my scoring tool. I sometimes slide out of these grooves, and with a bone folder it hasn't happened yet, and I've been making loads of boxes this week for an order. So I'm going to score this at 1.5. See, it scores beautifully, and I haven't skipped yet. 3 inches, 4.5 and 6 inches. And then with the short side top you're going to score at 1.5 and 3 3/4. I'm going to fold all these score lines and flatten them with my bone folder. Then I'm going to cut, and with this narrow part to the right, this is going to be the bottom. So here you cut it up and you cut at an angle there, and then you cut up those 4 score lines. Well, there's 3 left now. Okay. Then you're going to put that one backwards and that one. And you're going to... Am I doing this correctly? Do I should check my notes? Yes, I am. I'm starting to doubt myself now. You shorten these, and again you cut off the corners. If these two don't look very neat, that's no problem, because they're going to be hidden. So here's the bottom, and then the top part you cut away that one, and then you're going to cut to the left of that score line, so effectively you're cutting off the score line. And here too, it doesn't matter whether you do this from this side or that side, you just make a very, very shallow cut. Here too, to the left, right and left, and you repeat that. You may have to pull these off. See, very, very tiny cuts. You can see here that's what I've done. Okay, so then I'm going to put tear and tape on. This is going to be the outside of the box, that's what you're looking at now. So you put some tear and tape here on the glue flap. And then you're going to put 2 strips of tear and tape on that one, and you put them along the cut edge. That's what's going to hold the bottom together. You're going to stick those shortened glue flaps on, but I'll show you when I've done that. And here on the inside, the flap which is in between the 2 others, that's the front flap, and here you're going to put 2 pieces of tear and tape on. Normally I put tear and tape on in a U shape, but because this is a tiny space, I tore my paper, didn't I? Yes, I did. Because this is a tiny space, there's no need to put it in the U shape. Just put one there and one just near the middle and one near the end. Then I can put the box together. Just fold it over like that, and then you remove the backing, fold that end over, and it's adhered. It's as easy as that. Then, to show you the bottom, here you have those 2 strips going that way, and you've got 2 strips going that way. This is the one for the back flap, so this one you put in first. Just push it in, and then fold these 2 over, and then you can remove the backing here and push that one over, making sure that the edges are straight, and then with your bone folder you push down, and I hope you can see that the camera reaches in far enough, but you can see that you have a nicely finished bottom. Right, then I'll show you how to finish off these flaps just with some liquid glue. I'll push that one back, put some liquid glue on, fold it in, and you do this to all 4 flaps, and then with your bone folder you make sure they adhere well, and that's the bottom finished. If you look deep enough into the box, you can see that these flaps don't reach all the way. That's impossible because they would be too long for them to fold in, so that's why I shortened them. I wanted to, but it didn't work that way. So that's the bottom. Then I'm going to show you how you can make the top of the box. For the top, you're going to need the designer series paper and a piece of thick basic white, and I told you I would tell you why thick basic white. This is just 2 pieces of cardstock, and you see it does fit, but it is rather loose. And if you use thick basic white, just because it is that bit thicker, see, this box doesn't fall out anymore. So that's why I advise thick basic white. Now I have already made it, the box, cut it and everything. I put something dark underneath. You can see that it's the same shape, and I've already put the tear and tape on. Same as I do with the bottom part, and I'll give you the measurements. You need a piece of basic white, thick basic white, which is 7 inches by 5 1/4. With a long side top you score at 1 5/8, 3 1/4, 4 7/8 and 6 1/2. And then with the short side top you score at 1 5/8 and 3 5/8. But I've done that already to make it a bit, well, to make the video a bit shorter. Right, I'm going to show you how you can cut the designer series paper and how you can put that onto the lid. And you need a piece of the designer series paper which is 6 7/8 by 1 3/4. So I'm going to measure that first of all. Six 7/8. That's this side, okay. And when you've cut that to 6 7/8, you're going to cut a piece which is 1 3/4. I knew I had one side which was the right length already. And then with the long side top, you're going to cut 4 pieces of 1 3/8. And if you put them onto the box in the order in which you cut them, you will get a continuous pattern. So that's 1, see, I've put it on. Then 2, 1 3/8. And I'm putting it on like that. Off camera I'm doing the same thing, so I'm putting them onto the box. And then this last piece you're going to cut down to 1 3/8 as well, so you make it a square piece. And that piece goes on here because that's going to be the top of the box. So I'm going to put these on, and I'll do this by using some seal in the middle and then liquid glue around it and put it on. You can see the pretty pattern, you see? Then, when this has dried, and because of the seal in the middle, it will attach immediately. No slipping and sliding. Then I can put this together in exactly the same way. Slide it onto the bottom and adhere the name card, the holly and the berries, and I'm going to use my seal for that. Do I want it on straight? Yes, I do. And then I'll use the mini glue dots for the other 2 pieces. I'll use my tweezers. Makes it easier to put it on. And then I'm curling the leaves up a bit. And that's 2 boxes ready for Christmas dinner. That's it for today. I hope you have enjoyed watching this tutorial. I enjoyed making it for you. All the details are on my blog. If you'd like to leave a question or a comment, I'd love to hear from you. Thank you very much for watching. Dank je wel voor het kijken en see you next time. Bye bye, tot ziens.